Hello everyone and welcome back to another YouTube tutorial in creating our PHP forum. In the last episode we learned about 3 methods of controlling the page. One of them was including data, one of them was a header redirector, and the other was just killing the page with the die and exit function. That was pretty easy and we learned that we could do a lot with that. And in this episode we are going to be not even typing any PHP code. That's probably going to be in a couple episodes. For the next few episodes, we're not going to be typing PHP code. And instead, we're going to be learning about a new language and a new sort of way of interacting with data called MySQL. And to do that, we need a tool called Php Myadmin, which we already have. To access it, just go to localhost and just push enter. And it should take you to this WAMP server page. And there's your server configuration and all the information and all our plugins. And as you can see, we've got our projects here. Stupid Steam. If we go to Php Myadmin, just click that, it'll take us to this brand new page that we've never seen before called Php Myadmin, and it'll say welcome to Php Myadmin. It'll ask you for your language. If you don't speak English, I don't know how you're understanding me, but put English in there anyway. So yeah. Anyway, in Php Myadmin, this is where we're going to be managing all our data and learning about databases and things like that. And to sign in, it'll show this, login window, and you're like, well, I didn't even create a user. What's going on here? Well, to sign in, the username by default is always root, and the password is just blank. There's nothing in there. So just push go when you have that set up, and it should take you to this website, which has a ton of stuff, by the way. When I first saw this thing, I was so like, oh god, what am I looking at? But yeah, so this is Php Myadmin, where you can learn to use and manage your databases. Now, you guys on Mac, I haven't forgotten about you guys. I think you're going to be using SQL Server or something like that, and it's pretty much the same thing. When you start to follow along, you'll figure out how to create databases and stuff. You can look that sort of thing up. Maybe I'll go more in depth on that. But yeah, it's pretty easy to do this sort of thing. So the first thing we want to do is, inside of Php Myadmin, go over here and go to user accounts and click on add user account. Now, we already have the root and all that, but we need to sort of go beyond that, because root is, obviously root and then no password is super insecure. And anyone could pretty much gain access to all your data and see all your users' personal data. And in a website, you just can't have that. Like, that could sort of destroy everything that the users are, their accounts and all their data, and that would just be terrible if your database gets leaked. So your username, just put in, you can put in here whatever you want. I'm just going to put in Fox. And now uh-oh, didn't mean to push that. There we go. Stupid back buttons on the mouse. There's user accounts. So once again, I'm going to put in Fox, your password. We'll put in password 1234, which is an awful password. I do not recommend you ever use that. And to get a nice secure password, you can either use a password manager, but I'm not going to do that, for this video, because that would be a lot more work. But to get a strong password, you can just push this button and it'll generate you a really nice password that looks really strong and complicated. You can push this a few more times to get your lucky numbers. And if you just copy this and you want to paste this somewhere, or you want to write, I don't recommend writing them down. I recommend them either in a password manager or putting them somewhere where no one will ever find it. So yeah, just put it straight on your web page so everyone can see it. But in seriousness, go into either, store it on an external drive or somewhere that no one will find. If you want to learn about password security, go watch like a computer file video or something. But if you go into your Windows drive and then you go into I'd recommend going into the Windows directory or somewhere like that, and then maybe even like System32 or something, like, just choose something, I don't know, whatever that is. Apparently I'm not allowed to access that, whatever. Somewhere like, yeah, there we go. So just paste it, put a text file in here, and then just call it something really obscure, like systemconf.ini.txt, and just store it in there, so that way no one will ever find it, and you keep track of it. But yeah, that's pretty much how you do something like this. So I'm just gonna do ASDF and ASDF because I'm not concerned about this. This is on my local computer, and no sensitive data will be stored in here. But on your websites, it's critical that you use a strong password. The next thing, if you scroll down here, database user account. We don't need to create a database, and we don't generate all privileges on wildcard name. No, we don't need to do that. Just click global privileges, check all. And now this will give us access to do all of the actions in our database because we're sort of an administrative user. Now, you may only want some people to have the ability to see data. You may not want them to be able to edit it and change around things because that could be bad for certain users to have if they don't know what they're doing. So yeah, just for our account, just click all users and just click go. And now, as you can see, you have added a new user, and we've got edit privileges, user account, Fox, %. Yeah, we'll just save that. And now if we log out right here, if you just click your log out button, we can sign in with our account. So I called it Fox, password was ASDF, and we go, and it should, yeah, there we go. Now we're in. So that was easy. Now the next thing we need to do is create a next database, or a new database. And a database is where we store all of our information for our website. It's where everything goes, and it's sort of how we keep all of our data together, and we're going to store all of our data in tables. But first we just need to create our database, and we're just going to call it forum. And there's not really a specific syntax. I just recommend not doing that in all caps, and you'll see why in just a bit. And now name, what does it want? Okay, create a table. So it wants us to create a table. And now a table is kind of like, it's just like the PHP, what are they called? HTML tables, where we have our, if we go down here, as you can see, we scroll down, we've got our, it's just like this. It's literally the exact same thing. We've got the name of our user, we've got the user's age, and we've got the user's occupation. We're going to be doing the exact same thing in a database with MySQL, and we're going to actually be storing information about the users. So the first thing I'm going to make is I'm just going to make a table. We're not even going to use this. Users, number of columns, I'll give it 5. And now we're just going to push go. And now, scary things with all the text boxes. Oh my gosh, what do I do here? Well, we are going to start actually creating some credentials for the user to enter in. So the first thing we're going to do is, this is critical to every database, every table, that we have a primary key. And now a primary key is sort of what identifies our sort of thing in a database, or our bit of data in a table. You can only have one thing with the same primary key in a table, so you can't have two things that have the same primary key. That's just the website won't let you do that, and it's sort of going to be our main identifying factor, and we want to call it ID for, like, identification or something, and it's all lowercase. I like to do them. And now type. If you guys have ever dealt with Java or something, or any other kind of programming language, you probably dealt with, types of variables. In this case, we want to leave this one as int, which is integer, just like in PHP, how we can have, strings. We can have, which are, strings of text, integers, booleans, all kinds of things. And now length or values, what we can put in here, we can just do 11. That's, I think, the standard. I don't really know. And then default, we'll leave that as none. Collation, I don't know. Attributes, we don't need any. Null, we don't have to check that. Index, we want to click auto increment, or A_I, auto increment, which means every time we create a new row in our database, we're going to add 1. And this is all not going to make much sense, but just do exactly what I'm doing, and then I'll explain it. And now, as you can see, add index, just say go. That's going to add the primary key. As you can see, we have got primary, and that's just sort of stuff. You won't understand it now, but you will eventually. Next thing, we're just going to do username for the user to enter, and we'll just do it as a varchar. And now a varchar is it's a string, basically. It's not like a text. A text is a huge chunk of data. it's like a big, like maybe a Wikipedia page or something will be stored in text. Varchars, though, are like small bits of data, like a user's username or like an email address or something like that. That's basic, and or a URL or something. It's not big. And we're just gonna put that as 255, which is the maximum size maybe for a varchar, I think. But that's also the standard, is to do them in 255. And length is just the amount of characters you have. So like, I didn't mean to do that, but like a number or a piece of data that has a length of 11 can have that is the maximum, length that an int could be. You can't have more than 11 digits. So that's how that works. And then username, as for varchar, we don't need to give a default. We also don't need to give an auto increment because it isn't a primary key or anything. We don't want it to automatically update. Next thing we'll do is password. And now, for a little while, we're going to store our passwords in plain text, which is awful. You should never do that. But just until you guys can understand the hashing, it's just going to be plain data. But that is just temporary. So next thing we'll just do is email, and that is going to be also a varchar, and then age. And we're going to, agfee. And now we'll just set this also to, we'll just keep age as an int, because, age is a number, and we can just keep that. And of course, put these as 255, and this one is 11, and there you go. And the reason why we're using 11 is because obviously you're never going to have a number with 255 digits. That would be like a freaking bajillions of numbers, so we don't need that. And now you can just click save. And if you want to see the code that the website generates, just click preview SQL. And now this is SQL code. We're going to not start with this. We're going to actually get into it. But yeah, this is what it looks like when we create a table. You can study that and really kind of get into it. Now if we just push save, we can see that we have, if we go back over here, we have created a table, which is awesome. And that is just awesome that we've managed to do that. Now, if we just start out, if we go to our forum, we can see we've got our users. And now I'm just going to click create 2 users. To do that, we just go into here, insert, and we're just going to start making some stuff to put in here. So username, okay, value, we'll do Captain Falcon. Next we've got this one, password for Captain Falcon. His password is sandwich. That's nice. And then email, captain@falcon.com. And then age is, he's probably like 46, I don't know. And just go. And we've created some data for our database. And this is actually the code that it runs, which is insert into users, ID, username, password, email, age, value is null, Captain Falcon, sandwich, captain@falcon.com, 46, which is irrelevant to you guys, but you will get to, understanding this eventually. So yeah. If we just go to our browse, I think I accidentally made that twice. Yeah, I did. So I'll just delete this one. But you can see all the data that we have in our database is right here. All the data we have in our table, not our database. And we can create as many tables as we want. In those tables, we can create columns. And these are the columns. Like we have a users column, an ID column, an email column, and then we can create, rows of data. So we can create one for Captain Falcon and Falco and Barty and just all these guys that we're going to put into our database. But yeah, I'm going to end this tutorial off here. This has been our intro to MySQL, creating databases and stuff. If you guys have hated this video, slap a dislike on it. If you loved it and you want to see more, like the video, comment down below, poop, and subscribe for more dank videos.